mind, body, or spirit to sing Hold Everybody Up. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Just because you look like you and I look like me doesn't mean we can't be friends. You're not my enemy. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. People all around this world sometimes feel so sad. But when others show they care, then things won't be so bad. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. You gotta hold everybody. You gotta hold everybody up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Hold everybody up. Up, up. Last time, hold everybody up.
Good morning, and welcome to our Sunday service. Welcome to our Sunday service, whether you're with us here in the room or you're on Zoom. We're glad you're here, and we're glad you can hear me. It's good to see some very new faces and some very familiar faces. Blessings of Eid al-Adha, which is this weekend. Blessings of Pentecost Sunday, which is today. And happy Pride Month of June. This is a great day to be here for a number of reasons, the first of which is that we start our summer service schedule. Starting today, the service begins at 10:30 a.m. instead of 10:35. I'm Roger Jones, and I'm very happy to serve as one of the co-ministers here, along with the Reverend Lucy Bunch. Lucy's sermon today is on freedom. We are grateful for the support of our volunteers in the service and our musicians, along with our guest Dawn Walker on the flute. In this service, you will hear Dawn and Irina offer a preview piece from today's concert, and then you will hear a quartet offer some vocal music that will also be repeated in today's concert. This is our first annual summer concert. It takes place at 2 p.m. with our choir and various vocal and instrumental ensembles. And its theme is UU Values in Music. And there's no charge for this concert, but free will contributions will be welcome. And it will be streamed if you're not able to be here in person. The mission of this congregation says we come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. And we invite you to explore all the ways that we live out this mission. If you're new to UUSS, please fill out a newcomer's card, either using the link on our website or at the welcome table after the service. And that will enable us to connect with you. Our weekly message will come out to you by email every Friday. And the blue sheet includes upcoming activities with a calendar for the coming week. And to encourage close reading of today's blue sheet, there will be a cash prize to the first person who finds a mistake in it, but waits until after the service to tell us about it. And Unfortunately, we've been having some issues uploading things to our website, so the blue sheet and the order of service so far have not been able to be uploaded, and probably tonight or tomorrow they will be available. But the blue sheet, if you're in person, is here. After the service today is our monthly newcomers orientation, which includes a tour of the campus. It lasts about an hour, and kids are welcome. It will start 10 to 15 minutes after the end of the service, and today's guide is me. So get your coffee and meet me near the greeters table in the welcome hall. Also today, our young adult group is having its monthly meet and greet, and they will be meeting and welcoming you in room 7-8, which is that way. It has the number 7-8 on it. Raise your hand if you have been to one of these young adult meet and greets, so people around you will know who's been, so please feel welcome. There are a number of programs coming up in adult enrichment on Sundays and on weekdays in the summer, so stop by the connections table today during coffee time. In particular, Reverend Lucy and I want to invite you to a monthly book discussion in June, July, and August. It's called Challenging Books for Challenging Times. And to start out, Reverend Lucy leads a discussion of the book On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder on Tuesday, June 17 at 6:30, and Thursday at 2 p.m., June 19. You can come to either or both of those gatherings, and you can check the weekly message for future titles for July and August. We are blessed with so much talent at UUSS, and some of it is really good. And there's no better way to celebrate this than to attend our all ages talent show, our open mic night, and it's right here this coming Friday at 7 p.m. You can let Crystal Fountain know if you have something to share in the lineup. And if you're coming to that, why not come earlier for our all-ages potluck, which we are calling Family Dinner. That's when it happens this month, and we'll gather at 5:30 out there and sit down to eat at 6, and we'll finish and clean up by 7 o'clock for the talent show. Now, to avoid any distractions, please turn off your cell phones, smartwatches, burglar alarms, and if a neighbor should need assistance, please offer it with kindness. If you're attending by Zoom today, there will be 22 minutes of conversation in a breakout room so you can get acquainted. And as I mentioned, the order of service is not yet uploaded to our website. So now let us receive the music for centering.
Good morning. Wonderful to be here with you today. John Martin is our chalice lighter. Come on up, John. And our chalice lighting words this morning come from the Reverend J. Wolin. As we come together, let us remember those who have come before us, both known and unknown, and sacrificed so that we can have the opportunities we have. Let us think about those yet to come, both known and unknown, and the world we will leave them. Let us act with our values, the impact of which is both known and unknown. Let us move forward with hope for a world we can imagine and one we cannot fathom. As we light this chalice, let it light the path as we move forward in worship together in freedom.
This is the last regular Sunday school day of the year, and next week we'll start with our summer-based, art-based program in religious education, and so I will be slipping off to be with religious education, if you will sing us out. So let's go.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. I know you're scared, and I'm scared too. But here I am, right next to you, You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other.
Next, we light our candle of compassion and resistance. In these times of disruption and anxiety, when cruelty is on display in our country, this flame is a reminder to bear witness to human decency, dignity, and freedom. By this light, let us remember that fear is outworked by hope, and that hatred is no match for the power of love. In the days to come, may this flame light our way forward with courage and with hope. Blessed be. One of the ways that we strengthen our community is by weaving together the fabric of the joys and sorrows that each of us brings into this space on Sunday morning. And everyone has an opportunity for the minister doing the prayer to share their joy and sorrow. In our weekly message, there's a link every week to click on. And also you can call the office or send either Roger or I an email if you have something on your heart. On the first Sunday of the month, we have candles to light and cards for you to share your joy and sorrow. This morning, we've heard from Dee Linton and Danette Mulreen, sharing that after much concern these past few months, they're happy that their niece's husband, Christian Hernandez, has been notified that his application for a green card has been approved. Christian and Rita and their 3 children live in Richmond, Virginia. He's had DACA status, and it's been a long effort to move this forward. Amen. Renee and Ted Scott Feminella are sharing the joy that Ted's dad, Dave Gordon, is home from the hospital. He is healing well, and their family is grateful for your prayers. I know that we all carry joys and sorrows, celebrations and concerns in our hearts. So let us take just a moment to reflect on the joys and sorrows in your own heart. Amen. So this morning, I want to share with you a practice that we've done on the Sunday morning service before. A couple of months ago, we started a Sunday morning spiritual practice on embodied practices for challenging times. And this is one of the practices that we do every Sunday morning. And some of you know that we've done it here. It's humming. I want to tell you about the power of humming because I'm hoping that you might invite it into your life on a regular basis. So humming helps vibrate the vagus nerve, which is the nerve that controls our nervous system and our automatic functions like our heartbeat and our anxiety levels. So calming your vagus nerve can be a very powerful practice to settle your body when we're all taking in so many things all the time that are really hard to process, let alone the feeling of powerlessness in the things that are happening in our world. So we're going to do some humming together for about 3 minutes. I just want to give you a few tips because I'm not going to interrupt our humming time with any words. It's good to have both your feet on the floor. And I encourage you to practice pitches, practice placement in your body, whether you like a nice low hum or a hum in your throat, a hum in your belly. Try on different things. If you find yourself getting distracted or ready to stop this humming business, I encourage you to think about bringing that energy of stress-free energy, that ease, bringing it into either your own life or somebody else that you're holding, and just hum on behalf of someone else. So I'm going to be up here humming away into the microphone, so if you're new and if you feel self-conscious about this, don't worry, there's going to be plenty of energy and you can hum right into that group energy. Plus, the power of the communal hum just can't be beat. It's like 250 cats all purring together. So we're going to make that happen this morning. We're going to take about 3 minutes. I encourage you just to breathe really comfortably and easy and pace yourself and hum as it feels right for you this morning. So let us begin with a deep breath in. One last breath and one last hum. Just take a moment to have that experience and feel the resonance in your body.
From our humming space, now we sing voice still and small. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear your call singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years singing. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years singing.
Good morning. I'm Dawn Huebner, your worship associate for today. Today's service was inspired by the book On Freedom by Timothy Snyder, published in 2024. Snyder is a historian and public intellectual. Reverend Lucy's sermon is in 3 parts. Each part begins with a reading from On Freedom, which I will do. The first is called Positive Freedom. We tend to think of freedom just as freedom from, a negative. But conceiving of freedom as an escape or an evasion does not tell us what freedom is, nor how it would be brought into the world. Freedom to, positive freedom, involves thinking about who we want to become. What do we value? How do we realize our values in the world? If we don't think of freedom as positive, we won't ever get freedom in the negative sense, since we will be unable to tell what is, in fact, a barrier, how barriers can be taken in hand and become tools, and how tools extend our freedom. Freedom from is a conceptual trap. It is also a political trap in that it involves self-deception, contains no program for its own realization, and offers opportunities to tyrants. Both a philosophy and a politics of freedom have to begin with freedom to. Freedom is positive. It is about holding virtues in mind and having power to realize them. Insofar as such a thing can be measured, Americans could be doing better.
Our Soul Matters theme for June is freedom. And in the spirit of that theme, our service today is based on the ideas of Timothy Snyder in his book On Freedom. There is a lot in this book. I encourage you to read it, mainly because I'm only going to scratch the surface today of his ideas. Snyder frames his book with the 5 qualities that he says are needed for freedom: sovereignty, unpredictability, mobility, factuality, and solidarity. Today, I'm going to engage with just 2 of these, sovereignty and solidarity. But first, I want to set the stage with his overarching theme, positive freedom. It took me quite a while to grok this idea. Our culture is so steeped in the idea of freedom as being a release from something, a barrier that has been removed. Snyder speaks of positive freedom as the freedom to, rather than the freedom from. Having freedom to do something requires an infrastructure that makes that possible, requires our values, our systems, our communities, our government. These enable us to have the freedom to thrive, to love, to answer life's call. Now, of course, we all know that our country was founded on the idea of freedom. Freedom from tyranny, freedom to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, more so than perhaps any other country on earth. We have been living with this idea of freedom for more than almost 2.5 centuries. But the founding fathers never intended freedom to mean freedom from government intervention. They spent years forming a government structure of checks and balances to create the systems that would support our ability to be free to. Starting in the 1980s, conservative forces in our country engaged with the ideas that freedom means getting whatever you want without government intervention. They want us to think that the free market will solve all of our problems. And as a result of these policies, we now have the greatest income inequality in the history of our country. I'm not trying to convince you here of anything. It's likely that many of you agree with me. But what I'm doing is asking you to think of freedom in a new way. Freedom can flourish when we have an effective government, a government that supports everyone, a government that is based on values that serve the common good. Freedom is also not a one and done. You're free, go off, have a good time, barrier removed, and then we're free. That's the negative freedom that Snyder's talking about. Positive freedom is raising children with values. It's building communities so that we and others can thrive. Positive freedom is about regulations that protect and policies that support justice, fairness, and equity. Snyder uses examples from Ukraine to demonstrate the ideas of positive freedom. He spent years in Ukraine, on and off. And he tells the stories of a town that was liberated from the Russian troops. The communities were free, from, but not necessarily free to. That positive freedom, that freedom to, required removing the landmines from the fields. It required building the schools and homes that had been destroyed, tending to the injured, raped, and tortured people. These actions were necessary for people to live free, to live their lives. I think of Syria in the same way, their long war against a fascist dictator. We have supported Syrian refugees in our congregation, and it was a triumph when their dictator fell and the insurgents took over the country. The people were free from tyranny. But what were they free to? So much had been lost and destroyed. So many people fled for their lives. To create the conditions for people to be free, to live their lives, requires establishing a government, rebuilding almost everything, and tending to the injured and the damaged bodies and souls. When I was reflecting on this idea of positive freedom, I thought of an example in our own country that kind of clarified it for me. I don't know how many of you remember the song "In the Ghetto." Elvis Presley sang it in 1969, written by a white guy and sung by a white guy. It almost makes me cringe to think about it. It told the conditions of poverty in some of our inner city areas. I was young when it came out, and for a white girl raised in a white world, I didn't understand why someone would stay in a place that was so difficult. No one was making them stay there. They were free. I even imagined someone getting on a bus and going someplace with more opportunities. Certainly, people could find a way to a better life. But then I realized once you get on that bus, where do you go? Where is a system that will support you, people that will give you opportunities and resources? We could say the same thing for victims of domestic abuse. So they're free to go, why don't they leave? To do so, to be free to live their lives, they need resources, systems, and structures that will help and protect them. Positive freedom means freedom to thrive. It requires trust that the system will serve not just the rich and the connected. Positive freedom requires safety nets so that people can explore and risk, and requires structures that are so solid that we can fly free.
To believe or not, we all eat from an to be heard and seen. We dream of a land, of a world brave enough, proud enough to be united in song, to fight for justice and peace.
Again from the book On Freedom by Timothy Snyder. Sovereignty. The first form of freedom, as I hope to show, is sovereignty. Freedom begins with sovereignty, and sovereignty has to do with bodies. And so, the philosophy of freedom begins with a baby's cry. In thinking about freedom, we tend to leave out the time between birth and maturity, the formative period of life. But those who care about childhood should care about freedom, and those who care about freedom should care about children. Sovereignty usually means the sovereignty of the state, its capacity to dominate, or at least to set the terms of life. But if we regard freedom positively, we can think of sovereignty differently, as being about the person rather than the state. A sovereign person knows themselves and the world sufficiently to make judgments about values and to realize those judgments.
To be free in the positive sense is not a matter of barriers being taken down. It's a matter of owning your own life, to proceed through life with self-respect and agency. This is what it means to be sovereign over your body and your life. Babies, of course, are not born sovereign. They must learn to be by the tending, teaching, and examples of others. We are not born free. We are born dependent and require tremendous care and support to become our own sovereign person. Just ask the parents of an infant or a toddler or a teenager. Last week, we had a child dedication here, and we asked everyone in the congregation to commit to support and encourage the child's development so that they may grow into their fully realized self, so that they may be sovereign. Being sovereign means living according to the values that have been instilled in you, and it means being free to live in accordance with those values. Snyder says a sovereign person knows themselves and the world sufficiently to make judgments about values and to realize those judgments. As I read this, I was asking myself, what do values have to do with freedom? Values are the foundation that allow us to be free by helping us to live from our own knowing. If you are not grounded in your own values, you are at the whim of the world's capriciousness. But if your roots are firmly planted in your values, you will have a center of integrity from which to navigate the world. And that center allows you to be free to thrive. Now, for Unitarian Universalists, values are at the center of our faith, and we covenant to support each other in living in a way consistent with our values. A few times a year, we offer a course for new members and active newcomers called Your UU Journey. And we review the UU values in the course. Each person reflects on which value strengthens them, grounds them, and which one challenges them. We don't all agree on which values are most important or most challenging, but we support each other and we learn from each other in the process. We increase our individual sovereignty together as we considered the values that ground us and connect us to Unitarian Universalism. So if our sovereignty is the key to our freedom and our values are what ground our sovereignty, we must respect and guard these qualities. So I hate to tell you this, but the free market is not interested in your sovereignty. It's interested in your money. Social media is not a tool for us. We are a tool for it to achieve the goals of money and power. We are not free when we are manipulated by the algorithms of social media, or our movement is tracked by our phone. If you've ever looked up something on your phone and then gone to another device or on Facebook and seen an advertising for something that you'd looked up on another device, you know what I'm talking about. Snyder was talking about all the time he spent in Ukraine, and in this context of social media, he said that when he was visiting a friend in Ukraine, what he says is, surveilled, harried, and nudged, I am undoubtedly less free than I was when I was sitting in a Ukrainian apartment, backpack set aside, computer quiet in a corner. We are all less free. Social media is teaching us to think about certain things in certain ways. It curates for us based on what we've read, what we've clicked on before, what we've even lingered on before. You may make the choice to click on something, but your future choices are limited by what you've clicked on before, creating essentially a house of mirrors. Of course, what you see in your feed is also based on their algorithms guessing what you might be willing to pay for. I struggle with my phone and other tech devices. Is it a tool that makes my life easier? Is it a demanding force that's making choices for me? Where is the freedom in that? Who is in charge? Our children are not becoming sovereign adults through engagement with their phones. Quite the opposite. One of Snyder's main points is that the purpose of government is to form and maintain the systems that allow us to live with sovereign freedom. What supports our sovereignty, I'm sure you can do this list as well as me: reproductive rights, childcare policies that enable children to grow and thrive, healthcare that doesn't require people to go bankrupt, systems that provide safety for everyone, our bodies, our food, our lives, and policies that allow us privacy and control over our personal data. You know the list, and I'm sure you can add to it.
Generosity is a spiritual practice. Our congregation has the practice of giving away half of every Sunday's offering to an organization working to make a difference in the world. Our partner for the month of June is Opening Doors. Since 1993, Opening Doors has been supporting immigrants, refugees, and survivors of trafficking on their paths to stability, self-sufficiency, and belonging. The journey of these immigrants coming to the U.S. is complicated, exhausting, and often dangerous. For many, they're not only leaving difficult circumstances, but they also face new challenges when they arrive. From financial to language barriers and bureaucratic to cultural barriers, the obstacles can be overwhelming. And yet, for these immigrants, refugees, and survivors, they all hope to build a better life for themselves and their families, an inspiring goal that should be met with compassion and support. Opening Doors believes that this is what it means to be a neighbor, to receive these newcomers with open hearts, open minds, and open arms. Towards that end, Opening Doors strives to ensure that all newcomers have the tools they need to thrive. And we'd like Open Doors to have the supplies they need. So including to sharing our offertory with them, we are doing a diaper donation, and we'd like you to bring diapers that you're donating to Opening Doors to UUSS every Sunday in June or to the office by Friday, June 27th. Thank you for your generosity to UUSS and our community partner, Opening Doors. This morning's offering will now be given and received. We're going to pause for just a moment as we finish the offertory. Okay, as the greeters come forward with the offering, please join in our unison response. May generosity bless our world, and may gratitude nourish our spirits. The final section of the homily and the reading preceding it, still from On Freedom by Timothy Snyder, is about solidarity. Freedom is the value of values, but it does not stand alone, nor can a free person stand alone. The practical recognition of these philosophical truths is solidarity. We need the salve of solidarity in the hard logic of life. It is a necessary component of a working project of social mobility. If the goal is not opportunity for all, some will be satisfied, while others are more immobile. The sad fact of American history brings this home. Solidarity closes a circle. None of the things that we need to become free, including knowledge, can we produce by ourselves. The most fundamental truths, the ones about ourselves that allow us to see the world, we must owe to others. If freedom is the value of life, one of its forms is the self-conscious labor of making freedom possible for others. Solidarity is the guiding light of a land of the free. Solidarity is the mark of a just person. Our values differ, as they should and must. But freedom is the value of values, because it is what allows that difference to reside in us and in the world we make around us. Each of us has the right to a freedom that allows us to learn, choose, and combine values. We are not the same, but in the most essential sense, we are equal. If I claim freedom for myself, then I must do so for everyone. This can only be brought to life as a common project. It is logically incoherent, morally obtuse, and politically ineffective to claim freedom only for oneself. That is choosing the isolation that tyrants would have chosen for us. They use the word freedom quite often, but without solidarity, we will be fooled, and we will fool ourselves. Solidarity is a high and vital form of freedom. It makes of freedom justice.
Okay, so how's everybody doing? Hanging in there? Last segment. So I think one of the biggest fallacies of negative freedom is the idea that we each have the right to have things exactly the way we want them. You see that everywhere now, with people who bring guns into communal spaces, the thousands of options you have for every single thing you might want to buy, or the people who just don't want to have to look at those unhoused people on the street. You see this expectation in the libertarian tech billionaires. Personal freedom is the gold standard. Of course, it's not possible for anyone to have this level of freedom, the freedom to do whatever you want, to be completely independent. Even the survivalist in the wilderness got his generator from somewhere, drove down a road that someone else built, is using technology that someone else created. Right now in our country, the freedom that ultra-rich people experience is derived from the labor, oppression, and deprivation of millions. These millions are not free, and neither are the rich who benefit from their sacrifice. We are in this together, and we actually need each other to be free. And it's not because of your work, the roads you build, and the food you grow. Not just because of that. It's partly because of that. But we need each other because you help me become me. We are not free unless we are seen, heard, and known. We are not free unless we learn from our differences. We develop our values and grow into a sovereign person from the interactions that we have with each other, from what we learn, from what challenges us. The internet trolls who live in the echo chamber of their own hate do not have communities that help them learn and grow. They are isolated and limited by their choices and their circumstances. To be free, you must be seen and heard by others, and you must see and hear others in return. Freedom requires interdependence. But that interdependence also requires us to care about the freedom of others. Snyder says, if freedom is the value of life, one of its forms is the self-conscious labor of making freedom possible for others. Florence Ellen Walker Harper was an African-American activist in the 19th century, and she said these words to the Women's Rights Convention in 1866. We are all bound up together in one great bundle of humanity, and society cannot trample on the weakest and feeblest of its members without receiving the curse on its own soul. We are not free if others are oppressed. You cannot claim freedom just for yourself. Solidarity is the mark of a just person. Let's all take a deep breath and let it out with a sigh. And then one more. So Snyder's book was a tough read. It left me quite depressed and with a depressing perspective on our country and where it's headed. It left me feeling like it's hard to know how to be a force for healing in the world. But then it made me realize something really important. It made me realize that what we do here, what we do on Sunday mornings and every day of the week that we come together, what we do is counter to this negative direction. We, Unitarian Universalists of Sacramento, are building community, supporting each other in living our values. We are providing love and structure for our children to grow into sovereign adults. We are reaching out to communities who share our values and recognize our freedom is bound to each other. We are working for justice. We are working so that all may be free. One of the members of my Soul Matters group commented in our last session about how totally countercultural what we do in Soul Matters is. It's a group of people face to face, without any devices, listening respectfully to each other and discussing important topics about our lives and our world. Wow. Seriously countercultural. I did not appreciate that until she reflected that back to us. We are providing structure and engagement, encouragement that helps people navigate our complex world. We are helping to create the structures that give people the freedom to thrive. We should all be proud. And I think it's really cool what we're doing here. I'm very proud. I think we should keep doing it. And I think we should do more of it. And I think we should keep learning and changing and widening the circle of who is with us to include all who seek sovereignty and solidarity, all who seek justice and freedom for all. We come together not just to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. We come together to build a world where all are free to thrive. May it be so.
In journeying towards that freedom, let's sing Answering the Call of Love. The promise of the
As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying, "We extinguish this flame. Carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come."
Let's all reach out to each other, reach out beyond our walls, reach out to our beautiful earth and our wonderful world. And I'm giving Timothy Snyder the last word today. Probably won't happen again. Our problem is not the world. Our problem is us. And so we can solve it. We can be free if we see what freedom is. We can see creativity in the past, possibility in the present, liberty in the future. We can recognize one another, create good government, and make our own luck. We can seize the chance. It may be our last one, but it's a good one.